So the question is converting this equation. We have to convert that equation in in this form, y equals to mx plus b. And what do we call this form? What is the name of this form? Where we have a m is the slope, x is the x component, y is the y component, and b is, what is the b? B is y-intercept.
Oh.
B is a y-intercept, so line passes through y-axis through the b, right? And in order to convert it to that form, so we gonna rewrite this equation and try to convert it to the y equals to mx plus b form. Now we have a general form of the equation of the line, and all I need a y value on the left hand side, and I need my x value on the left hand side. So what we're gonna do, we move the x and constant on the right hand side. You see your x and constant on the right hand side.
Yep.
So you keep your 2y, negative 2y on left side, and move 3x to the right hand side. Whenever you move it to the right hand side, it turns into negative.
Yeah.
You understand that, right?
Yeah, I know.
In layman language, we can say take away 3x from both sides. So subtract 3x from both sides. Here they cancels, and it's gonna appear on the right hand side, right? It's the same thing, moving over and taking away the same amount. So what we do now, next step is moving 5 to the right hand side. What's gonna happen if when 5 moves to the right hand side? It turns into negative 5, right? So you're taking away negative 5 from both sides. Now they're gonna cancel, and on the right hand side we have a negative 5. So it's another way of saying moving over. So move over means you take away the same amount from both sides. Good? Now the next target is this value, minus 2. I have to get rid of minus 2, and minus 2 is multiplied by y. In order to get rid of any number which is multiplied, we do opposite operation. That means you have to divide both sides by minus 2. Now when you divide it by minus 2, what do you get? This minus 2 is divided by minus 2.
So
What do you
just get y.
Good. So we left with just y. They cancel, so you have y equals 2. Now both of these terms are divided by minus 2. So what are we gonna get? We're gonna get negative 3x over minus 2 minus 5 over minus 2.
Yeah.
Now negative they cancel out. Whenever you divide negative by negative, it turns into positive. And same for multiplication. If you multiply a negative number with a negative number, it turns into positive number. So my y,
For this?
yeah, that's right as well. So it's gonna be positive. So 3 over 2x and negative positive 5 over 2. Now if you compare this equation with whatever we wrote in here, they looks alike. They look alike. They are exactly in the same form. So therefore my m is that, and my b is this value. Good? So we got the slope intercept form. That's what we call it, slope intercept form of the line. Okay? That's the answer.
That's the answer?
Yep. So we converted the general form to the slope intercept form. So this converts to that.
My teacher.
Write the equation in form of that. So now the next question that they may ask you, determine the intercepts of the line. For example, so let me write it down. The equation is 5 of x minus 2y plus 10 equals to 0. Now this is the equation of a line. We can just look at that and tell that this is the equation of a line for sure, right? So the question is determine the intercepts of the line. So we have to find x-intercept and we have to find y-intercept. Now what does it mean? That means the points where your line is passing through. If your line is passing through these 2 points, we're gonna call this one y-intercept, this is the x-intercept. And how do we find that? For finding that, one is just convert it to, in order to find y-intercept, you're gonna convert it to the slope-intercept form, right? The previous thing that we just did.
Yeah.
Or the thing that I already taught you. What was that? You put, in order to find this point, what do we do? What is the y value on this line? On the x-axis, what is the y component on this x-axis? What is y here on this line? Y coordinate on this line?
0.
Yes, very good. So the y coordinate is gonna be 0 on x-axis. So in order to find this point, you put y 0. Good.
Yeah.
So let me erase its mess. So now, in order to find this point, which is x-intercept, this point, we put y 0. So in order to find it, we do substitute y 0 in above equation, and if you put y 0 in there, we get 5x minus 2 times by 0 plus 10 equals to 0. Now isolate x value because you have to find x value, right? That's what we have to find. So this is 0. So I have plus 10 equals to 0. Now 5x equals to minus 10. And I divide both sides by 5. Right?
Yeah.
That cancels out and I got negative 2. So my x-intercept is minus 2. That was a rough drawing. It's not the exact drawing. So it's just a rough idea. Now I have the x-intercept. In order to find y-intercept, what do we do? For example, this is a y-intercept of this line, and in order to find y-intercept, we substitute x 0. You see, for this point, x is 0. So if you substitute x 0, you're gonna find y-intercept. It's a kind of opposite process. So we put y 0 in this equation. And let me zoom in so that I can write it there. So now I put y equal, nope, x equals to 0. Let me call it star. So if I put x 0, what do I get? X times by 0 minus 2y plus 10 equals to 0. Zoom it out. 5 times 0 is 0. Minus 2y plus 10 equals to 0. Now I move 10 to the right side and it turns into negative 10. Now we divide both sides by minus 2. If you divide it on the left hand side, it just cancels out, right?
Yeah.
So there's no minus 2. So we left with the cancels. On the right side, we got negative, negative, positive. Negative cancels by negative. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my y-intercept is 5. Now I make my x-intercepts y-intercept. My x-intercept was minus 2. So I do minus 1, minus 2. Y-intercept is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the y-intercept. So the line is passing through these 2 points. Makes sense to you?
Yep.
So I drew a line by knowing the y and x intercept. Though the question was just about the intercepts, they were asking you what are the x and y intercepts. So once again, x and y intercepts are those points on the x-axis and y-axis from where your line is passes through,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
All right, I think that's understood to you, this whole thing. Now we go to the next topic.